Hi.
The
Hi,
Michael
everyone.
something song. Is that a song? Is that a commercial? I don't know what that is. Too young for
Are
that
you kidding
reference.
me? Oh, no.
I want to be like Mike and Ike. Is it like the candy?
Yes, it was a commercial. But what were they advertising? Interesting. Don't remember.
Tonight we're doing Air, the new 2023 movie about Nike and more specifically Air Jordan, the sneakers. Very popular sneaker brand. A lot of people have them.
Still.
They like them. I've never been into shoes at all. I watched one documentary called, I think, Sneakerheads, about like people who just have. There's these people, they love them. They have hundreds of shoes that are worth, they're like small batch collections, and I'm unfamiliar with this world of shoes.
I don't have a lot of shoes, and I know that people do like shoes, though. And it's really weird because this is like an okay thing for, usually it's women who are like, you always think of, oh, people who have a lot of shoes, it's women. But when it comes to sneakers, totally dudes.
Yeah, specifically basketball shoes. And I didn't know if basketball shoes was a big collectible underground thing before Air Jordans. Probably. I'm sure it didn't start it. But I mean, I know people now have like, there's so many
people
specialties.
used to collect Chucks. They would, like high tops and usually you would decide if you were a high top or a low top person. So Converse would have all the different colors, and you would collect those.
I like learning about the shoe market stuff. I didn't realize about any of that, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. Sonny Vaccaro. I just did this. Sonny Vaccaro and Nike pursue basketball rookie Michael Jordan, creating a partnership that revolutionizes the world of sports and contemporary culture. Buried the lead because it's about Michael Jordan specifically, not just Air Jordan, because he's nothing. The shoe's a nothing before the guy comes in the shoe, is what the quote was in the movie, something like that. 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, 98 audience, 98 Fandango score. I don't know why that's popping up where Metacritic usually is, but 7.8 on IMDb. So high scores all around, and I think I said it already. It's Ben Affleck directing, who's made, surprisingly, lots of good movies. I didn't know he was such a good director. I mean, he might be a better director than actor. He's made Gone Baby Gone. He's made The Town, Argo, something else. I don't remember. I saw fourth film.
The first one that he did with Matt Damon.
But he wrote that. This is directing.
Oh, he didn't direct that?
No, he, who directed that? Gus Van Sant? Maybe?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I don't remember who. It's him or... Well, but it's actually speculation. Someone said that like Kevin Smith wrote and directed it secretly, but it's all kinds of stupid stuff. Because the speculation is that they didn't write it, because like then they didn't write anything as a team, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, forever. And then they wrote The Last Duel, which is an awesome movie. So, go watch The Last Duel. I was lukewarm on going to see this. I figured it would get good reviews and be a well-made movie, but I didn't know how much interest I had. Did you have any interest going into this?
It was my pick. I sent it to you and said I would like to do Air when it comes out. Yeah.
So why? Yeah, that's right. You said a small list, and this was what made it. So why Air?
I think because it was a small list, and the other things that were coming out at the same time were things that I wasn't sure about. Although I think the Mario thing I kind of slept on a little bit. The rest of the things in the genre were like not all that interesting to me. So I thought, this is, Affleck and, Matt Damon, this could work. So that's why.
We should be talking. I'm just going to say this right now. We should be talking about John Wick. I just saw that the second time, and no of my other three co-hosts will watch John Wick. And to everyone who wants to hear that,
I'll watch John Wick. We'll do it.
Oh, please. I know you're afraid of the dog, but I promise no dogs die in John Wick 4 at all. So there you go. Okay. There's a dog in it, but that'll keep you safe. Spoiler, the dog is not killed. So
or hurt. Does the dog get hurt?
Well, how bad is hurt? Like, the dog is fine. The dog emerges triumphant. Okay. I'll spoil the dog's piece, but
I would feel better if the dog got all the retribution. But
Air is in theaters now.
Yeah.
as is John Wick 4, which you should see. But if you have any interest in seeing it, that's where it is, and we are going to spoil it here now. So in the 1984, we're at Nike, and apparently back then, not such a hot company. They were third behind Converse and Adidas, it looked like, is kind of how it was framed, especially in the basketball shoe division. Nike was seen as a running shoe. They're not cool. The people who like basketball shoes are not going to want Nikes. And so they're looking at the sneaker division, and our main character, Sonny, is like, he's like a specialty marketing kind of guy specific to, he's a very niche job where he specifically needs to find the player to advertise their shoes for. And they have a small budget. What?
Yeah. Or players. Because they're actually looking for more than one player, yeah.
Right, and how it is with most players when they do endorsement deals, you get a couple, and then they endorse your thing. Whereas this guy gets a novel idea after watching some Michael Jordan tape, specific play that he kind of goes on about, that he is such a believer that this guy is the next big thing, not just the next big thing, the biggest thing, eclipsing all other things. That he would make a giant bet on his career and all their money and everything to bet that Michael Jordan is going to transcend basketball and their shoe division, and thus we will build a shoe around the player as opposed to a player selling a shoe. Oh, what a novel idea! So the movie is about him trying to do that, and now we will tell you what we thought of it. So, Mama K, what did you think of Air?
Oh, that was like the only thing that was a little bit unbelievable about this movie is that he did really focus on this one play. I mean, this guy's job was nothing but throwing in VHS tapes. That's what we used to watch before DVDs. VHS tapes into the player and just watch players over and over and over again. He also scouted like high school basketball teams, and he was Joe basketball for all intents and purposes, especially in Beaverton, Oregon. But how he focused on just this one play that happened during Michael Jordan's high school career.
I think it was his freshman year of college. So
yes, he was 18. So yeah, freshman year of college.
Not like a main guy on the team. They had other NBA caliber guys playing his upper class.
And if you look at him, he's a tall guy, but he's not the tallest guy, and he's not the biggest guy. And
he doesn't stick out.
No, he doesn't stick out, and I don't think, and he didn't even go first in the draft, so he was third in the draft behind two other players that I can't think of right now.
I think at least one of them was Barkley might have been in that draft, but I don't remember.
Yeah, Charles Barkley, and it's funny because they talk about him a little bit, and did he live up to the fact that we don't want to get Barkley. He's got issues. So
they did make a good joke that no one's gonna want to see Barkley on TV, and he's literally one of the commentator guys now. Yeah.
Yeah, but as a basketball player, he became especially a little bit later in his career, a little bit of a liability. So that he couldn't really keep his mouth shut and was getting fined left and right. But apparently Nike actually doesn't care about getting.
Yeah, they do not care about fines. Later.
Yeah. So that was the only piece that I was like, how did he get that from this little piece? I mean, they show it over and over and they tell you the why of it. And I get that, okay, yeah, we have to have something where this guy actually was like, okay, this is the linchpin and this is who we're going to go for. So it's kind of, that's a fun piece where you're like, why would he think that this kid, Michael Jordan, was going to be this guy? So, but as a movie, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. It was like learning all about. It's like learning all about shoes, basketball, everything all over again. It's not like basketball wasn't a big deal before then, but really, I think Michael Jordan felt like one of the players that really transcended. Like everybody loved Michael Jordan. Not everybody loved Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Not everybody loved. I think James Worthy was in that class too, actually, now that I think about it. Not everybody loved, you either liked Magic Johnson or you liked Larry Bird, but I don't know, I feel like nobody had a bad thing to say about Michael Jordan once that all started happening. So I was really interested to see how this movie is going to play out, because I had no idea about the impetus of this. Nikes too, before, like in the 70s when they first, I don't know when they first came out, but when they first started becoming a popular running shoe, people called them Nikes. Like they didn't even call them Nikes. It's sort of like there was a
I was going to ask you if
whole
there was some sort of
thing.
old people thing that we wouldn't get from like someone who lived in this
Totally.
time. Like,
Yeah, it was like they were Nikes, and then it became a big deal, and they were for long distance runners. And I remember growing up, and when the kids on the long distance team in high school and college would be like, Beaverton, Oregon is like the mecca of life because of Nike. So it's like this is so crazy.
Nike.
Yeah, there was a lot of things I really liked about this movie, and including the soundtrack, which was very heavily 80s oriented. So yeah, we can talk more about a lot of different things.
I think I've noticed Ben Affleck makes pretty competent movies of all the genres, and they're like 3.5, 4 stars. And I don't really remember a whole lot about the specifics in a year or so. Like they're never on my top tens. I want to say Argo, The Town, and Gone Baby Gone. Like people like all those. I think those are all well received movies, and I don't think it's on anyone's top 10 ever. And this fits very cleanly in that. It's a very good 3.5, 4 star movie that I probably won't think about again ever. There's not like stuff that stands out super hard, but as a watch when you're watching it, very enjoyable, very smooth.
Yeah,
and I liked the business. I just liked the businessy story. I liked learning about Converse and Adidas, Nike. Like I like that. Like what was it like 40 years ago, and then knowing where those companies are now. Like, oh well, I mean, Nike's the clear winner out of those three. Like it's not particularly close. I like learning about all that kind of stuff, and there's choices in here that I think were like tough choices, but right choices. And
even cinematically.
Yeah, and storytelling wise, like I think the biggest one off the top of the bat, Michael Jordan's a big part of this documentary, this movie, and
It feels like that.
He is not only not really in it, they try their best to not include an actor playing Michael Jordan. Whenever an actor is in there playing Michael Jordan at 20 years old or whatever he's supposed to be, facing away from the camera, we see him kind of from faraway shots. But even then, we don't loom on him like he's this figure. We're pretty much just regularly focused on the parents as representatives of the Jordans. So,
right.
And I was watching, I'm like, that's a choice. You have to choose. Are you going to put Michael Jordan in your movie not about Michael Jordan, but he's like, such a piece of it, but like, he's a 20-year-old kid. He probably wasn't super involved in all this part. So
Everything that was happening to him. Yeah, it was happening to him, not with him. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't in charge of that.
I think that's a really tough call, and it's tough to cast
so,
like a Michael Jordan, but I think it's the right move. What do you think?
I mean, looking back, I think it's the right move. While it was actually happening in the movie, I found it very distracting to not be able to see.
It's distracting in the meeting, I feel, when like they actually all meet.
Yeah, I think that was the most distracting part, was that, we're seeing him like off to the side, like he's looking for a sandwich or something, like it's like
they make a
he's not
point.
involved.
He's always turned his head looking at the art on the walls.
Yeah,
or, looking somewhere. Like I said, it's a painstaking effort to not show any part of his face at all.
But I think it's a good call because the movie, I mean, not that the movie is not about Michael Jordan, but it's about the process of what happened here and how it changed the face of how athletes and other people are, make money when they do these endorsement deals. By taking, if you put an actor in the Michael Jordan spot, whether it's a known actor or an unknown actor, the movie all of a sudden becomes the actor who's playing Michael Jordan. Like,
Tom Cruise.
It's the thing. Yeah, exactly. It's the thing. So it's an annoyance for me, and I'm not sure that they could have done it any better, but I did find it annoying. And I think we hear him speak once maybe in the meeting. He makes a noise or something. I don't know. It's
they
really
do like a weird ADR line, or it's like a generic young black man. oh yeah, okay. Like he's just something like that. I'm like, okay,
Right.
that doesn't like it doesn't sound like Michael Jordan. It's just like it's like a plug.
Right.
I'm like, all right, whatever. I guess that's fine.
And who
Uh,
knows? Michael Jordan, I'm sure it didn't sound like Michael Jordan at 18. So,
maybe that was that
that's
actual
something
actor's
else.
voice, but they made a very clear point not to. Maybe there's a cut where he
Right.
is in it, and he's the guy they cast is so bad they just don't. They just had to cut all the way around, and they're like, it's impossible. We can't.
Well, do you
We
know the
can't cut.
story about this guy making this movie about this? That he had all of this idea to do all of this and could not. This was hinging on whether or not Michael Jordan would say, "Yeah, let's do this. Let's make this movie," and it wasn't happening. Like,
And who was the guy? Who was the like? Because this is written, directed by
the
different
writer.
people. The writer.
It's the
okay.
Yeah, the writer of the movie. Yeah,
Alex
And he's-
Convery.
Yes. Yeah, there was a story that I just read in Variety about it that people were like, dude, what are you writing? This is never going to happen because you're never going to get Michael Jordan to sign off on this. Like, this is too big of a story
So they
he's
got
not going to sign off on this.
Ben Affleck and Matt Damon to sign off of it. That'll get you enough money to make it.
Yeah, right. I didn't think that with these two at the helm that their funding was going to be an issue. So, yeah. So when you're talking, that's the only thing that kind of I guess now there's two things that bother me about the movie. The one where, he had only that one little space to really be like, Michael Jordan's going to be the thing. And then we never see him. We never see Michael Jordan.
Yeah, no, he's completely cut out. And I'm looking at like the little behind the scenes beforehand, like, oh, like is it on purpose because they didn't get his permission? But no, apparently Jordan met with Affleck beforehand and everything was cool, got a blessing. The Viola Davis casting was his idea, which, I mean, that's kind of, if you're him, why wouldn't you do something like that? And she's like, I just want the best actress to play my mom.
Yeah, to play my mom.
They're like, okay, we'll give you the best
Oscar
actress
nominated.
to play your mom.
Yeah,
like, that's
exactly.
fine. Then he personally requested that Howard White, who is the Chris Tucker character, be included in the movie and like have part of the storyline because apparently they're very close to this day. So,
that's the Chris Tucker character.
Yeah, I guess that's why because he's like a VP or something. He's like Sonny's friend in this, but also somehow still related to everything. And I think it's that other than Sonny or Matt Damon character, who like I'm not like a Matt Damon fan like really at all. I think he's kind of bland actor man, and this is like the closest thing to like him enveloping a role. But I mean, it's not super outside his comfort zone. But at least I'm like, I believe this is a different guy. Usually he's just bland actor man to me.
Yeah. What about Ben Affleck though? What'd you feel like him playing Phil? I mean, what was like that was.
That was fine. I thought it was like I just saw him in The Last Duel, and he was like a cartoon character. So this is like, yeah, he can be this guy. Is all right. Did you find him distracting?
I was just gonna say, from somebody who lived through the 80s, it was distracting for me because I was like, my God, this guy. I'm embarrassed because yes, this is what we looked like, but it wasn't distracting for you.
No, I thought he looked like what I imagined he would look like in the 80s. Just kind of bad. Like, people just look bad in that decade. I've seen all the old pictures. Like,
so bad.
You all look like nothing fits right. It's like bright, but then like dark in the wrong spots, and you all look 40 when you're in your 20s. Why are you all so old looking?
Everyone was wearing
terrible
jewel
looking.
tones and parachute pants, and it was awful. It was sort of like, let's experiment with everything and then go back to regular clothing. Like, yeah. Even our jeans look bad, and they look like just like the ones in the movie. Like, there were these really like, super high waisted, terrible.
No, people appropriately look bad in this movie. I think they get that right. Or like the Nike people, because all the other shoe brands are shown as like these like prestigious, like giant, opulent boardrooms, and theirs is like this little like dinky, like it looks like a FedEx store kind of place.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it looks like a small distribution center of some sort.
Yeah, kind of Dunder Mifflin-y looking. Like it doesn't look like the other two look like corporate, and like this place is like a little dump. Other people. So the other people in this, I was saying, other than Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman's character Rob Strasser is like another side guy. Chris Messina is playing the asshole man, the asshole agent man.
Oh
to
yeah,
to good effect, I would say.
yeah.
What
I
else
think
we
that was
got?
super appropriate.
Any other main people on
Oh
the
yeah,
show?
there's the guy who makes the shoe. Don't forget about him.
Oh yeah, making Shoe Man, who apparently the real guy died right before this came out. So R.I.P.
I
Shoemaker
know,
Man.
that's sad.
It was an
Yeah.
intense character. It was interesting. Yeah, that's the thing.
But
Is like
so,
watch. Go ahead.
well, the guy who makes the shoe, so he's basically just the shoe designer at Nike, and he winds up making the shoe, and it's great. But even beyond that, he also comes up with the logo that is still in use, the Air Jordan logo of the silhouette of Michael Jordan, with the ball. And I'm like, this guy, man, he's the thing. He's the shit. Like,
Did that logo when Air Jordan wouldn't have taken off without the logo?
yeah. So he created that as well later on after they got the shoe and blah, blah, blah. But that became, the Air Jordan brand.
They said they were expecting like 3 million in sales or something, and they sold 162 mil. I'm just trying to think of like because I work in like finance at a company, and I'm just thinking about like what would happen if like our company all of a sudden accidentally made like 50 times what we were supposed to make on something. Like I'm just like I can't even like wrap my brain around what would happen. Like how like oh my god, it's like
yeah,
insane.
Especially if that division was circling the drain. I mean, because that's what was happening at Nike is that the basketball shoe division was pretty much circling the drain. They weren't really giving it the proper funding, I don't think, compared to other things, because they were really kind of content with just being the running shoe, and they weren't going to put money into something else.
I like their play showing the other two companies too, because they show Converse as like the I'm on top, sitting comfortably businessman, and I like they felt like a Sears to me, where I'm like, this thing clearly is on the top right now and is going to not care to adapt ever. And in real life, of course, they did not. And then Adidas is like the company that was like always great, but they have turmoil at the top because someone died. I'm like, ooh. That's another story I'd like to hear. The fall of like not the fall of Adidas, but like the fallout of that guy. I'm like, it's another nice corporate movie I could watch because
it feels like Succession.
And I think that's part of why maybe that's why I was liking it as in a Succession mood. Because I just like the corporate fights, and like it's nice that it's basketball. It's something moderately interesting, at least. I believe it's playoff time now, so I am back on watching basketball. It's hard to watch a season, 82 games, too many to care about, but. Knowing, once the playoffs, then there's consequences. But, it's, like, interesting topic. But I think, like, the part that works for me the most is, like, all the politicking and maneuvering and all of the small little long shot choices the guy has to make here and there. And then there's, like, the big thing at the end not the end, but, like, the rule breaking thing after the unthinkable deal has happened because, Jordan doesn't want Nike, he wants Adidas. But he's willing to sign with Nike because the Matt Damon speech moved him, maybe, or because the other people sold him. But really, it's because he wants a piece of the shoe. He wants the cut, which is like unheard of. Not just like it was like, especially back then, but even like now, like player deals where you get revenue share is not always like you need to be special to get that privilege.
Right.
That's not normal. Unthinkable, and I mean it paid off clearly for all of them. But like that, just thinking about that too, I'm just like that. These corporate decisions are like they're crazy. Like it worked for me.
It just makes you think though that I don't want to because Michael Jordan's a big dude. He makes a lot of money. He's worth a lot of money, and you're like you feel like the little guy won here, right? Even though it's not.
But they're all big guys. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all big guys, but even if you get 1.5% or whatever of sales and it's 162 million the first year, that seems okay.
Yeah,
Plus your $250,000 and your Mercedes, because that was going to happen.
It's just the thought that like that's what they're expecting, and like no one else. They're like people wear Air Jordans still today. I don't know. What's the next most popular Yeezys?
Shoe.
I mean, can't wear those anymore. Like, I'm just trying to think of another.
No.
Another.
I can tell you what the next most popular shoe is.
Okay.
They're Crocs.
No, I mean,
I'm not okay
after
because
Ray Kroc from McDonald's.
no, listen. So we went to the movies. It was an evening movie, so we got out at like 9:30, whatever. It was a pretty mixed audience, and I was specifically after the movie sitting there watching the people come out of the theater and what kind of shoes they wore because I thought that's interesting. Let's see how this translates, right? Uh, a heavily male audience and mostly, probably teenage to the 30-year-old kind of audience. There was one set of Converse worn by a girl. There were 11 pair of Adidas, 2 pair of Nikes,
What?
8 pair of Crocs.
8? Wait, 11 Adidas, really? They're still that high up.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was like I was very surprised because, and the thing is that, Adidas has a lot of, that's the thing is like Adidas has a lot of different brands and a lot of different looks and Nike does too, sort of, but you can still always tell a Nike shoe. You know what I mean? Even if it's an Air Monarch, you can tell.
I wear Nike. I like Nike. Air Monarchs.
And it's not just the swoosh; it's the way the shoe looks. Like the shoe looks like a Nike shoe. So,
this were Air
yeah,
Monarch
I was
instead
like,
of Air Jordan. I would have maybe liked this movie.
I know. Do we now make a follow-up movie about the monarchy? Because
Air 2, the Monarchy.
Starring a golden retriever, perhaps.
I don't know who popularized the Air Monarch. Dads with long
I don't know,
arms.
but I felt like I needed to know after that movie, though, because Air Monarchs do play a big part in our family. So,
that many Adidases, I'm surprised. And that
for
few
the extra
Nikes.
wide, comfy. I have a pair of Adidas.
Really? I can't. The last Adidas thing I think I own is a soccer cleat. Like, and I haven't played soccer in 20 years.
Well, yeah, most people Adidas, they have, it's the active wear. That's what they're wearing. So
you just put on a Monarch.
Even now,
all terrain.
Yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting. I said that to your dad. I was like, so I've just been watching while I've been sitting here waiting, and yeah, this is.
So in Maine, with the movie going crowd, Adidas still remains on top with Crocs coming in close behind.
Yeah, Adidas and Crocs, and a lot of different color Crocs. Not like, I think there was a rainbow Croc, and there were like two white Crocs, I think, and I think that's somehow something right now. I don't know what. But.
Strange. I guess more of a point was like, who's that? Like, there's Air Jordan. That's Michael Jordan's shoe. What's the next most famous person who's just?
I understand.
Here's their famous shoe. Croc is not the answer. Like, I think it's. Is it not Yeezys?
I stand by Croc.
Which is unfortunate.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, because people still collect that stuff, right?
Well,
you still collect Yeezys.
I say Yeezy, and you know what I'm saying. Who's a shoe that I would say they're the shoe brand, and you know what I'm saying. I can't even think of another other like it's Air Jordan and nobody. It's just like it's
pretty
still
much
to this day. He's like there's no who are the other goats of their sports. There's no Tom Brady. He has like a health diet thing, but like TB12 is not the same as Air Jordan.
No.
What else? Hockey, Wayne Gretzky. I feel like he doesn't do anything.
No, there's really nothing.
Tiger Woods not doing as hot as he once was in general.
Yeah. No. I mean, and Michael Jordan's been retired from basketball for how long now? It's been a while.
His dude's like 60, I think. Is there a consensus GOAT of baseball? Like there is, like, because I just said all those other guys. I don't think most people would argue with any of them being the GOATs of their sports.
Yeah, like forever and ever baseball. Well, you're talking about like, Yogi Berra or something like that. You're talking about somebody from the 50s.
Well, let's talk like
Joe
50 years, 60 years. Yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Cal Ripken, maybe?
I don't even know who that is. I don't know baseball things.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Yeah.
It's just a bad sport.
I don't know. I think that it's crazy to think that people still get super, super, super hype. I mean, especially the collectors get super hype when new Jordans are coming out. It's and they can't keep them on the shelves. So
anyone who collects any of that kind of stuff, I don't get hardcore collecting like that. There's stuff I like to accrue, but it's more like if I come across it and it's like a good deal or it's like a good story. Like I don't feel the need to accrue new things that are just made. Like just because there's a few of them made, it's still made in just like a conveyor belt line. Like it's not like it's like there's a story behind it that's interesting.
Yeah, I guess, but sometimes don't you get hype about like when you know a movie's coming out? It's the same kind of thing. You're not going to own the movie, obviously, but
No, but I
you
mean,
know what I
in that
mean?
case, it's literally a story, and also I can see whatever movie it is. There's a chance I will see it for $1 or two. Like it'll shake out to an hour of my 2 hours of my subscription time, or it'll be part of my $20 a month movie pass thing. Like
Yeah.
it'll cost me literally nothing but time. Whereas like everything else is like I'm paying $300 for a new shoe because there's only 1,000 of them. Because like what? Like there's probably only 1,000
Are
of a
you
lot of
kidding?
things.
It's all about clout. I mean, people, a lot of life is about clout, especially with a certain, um, age of people. And so if if you've got them and you can afford them, even if you can't afford them and you've got them, it's like, you know, you're the
I
head
guess if you're like
dude.
a if you're like a
You're the big
flipper, it's like an
cheese.
investable market, then I could maybe I'd watch that movie
I feel
where the
like you
guy.
can't do that, right? I feel like you can't do that anymore because they're so expensive to start with. You know, you have to have quite the bankroll.
Art has even ebbs and flow in valuation too. There's sometimes where art starts to inflate again, and then in hard times it's worthless or not worthless, but you can get nice stuff on
Yeah,
discounts.
I don't know. I feel like art's gonna have a real dip at some point because people who really invest in it and enjoy it are kind of aging out. So
Well, do you
maybe you
recommend
should buy
Air?
Jordans instead of art.
Do you
I
recommend
do
Air?
recommend
Okay.
Air. Yeah, I recommend it. I want people to see it in the theater, and I do want them to also do the shoe count because I think that that's a really interesting thing.
I wish I
I
did.
want to
Although
know if Crocs are only here, because if Crocs are only here, that
I don't see
it's
nearly as many Crocs as you just. You just described an audience that's about 40% Croc. That seems high. I don't think that's. I don't think that's.
I don't see them in my
realistic.
everyday life. Like I work in the city and in the biggest city in the state where I live, and I do not see Crocs on a regular basis down there. This is definitely a teenager to 20-year-old kind of thing that's happening right
Well, it's
now.
comfy wear. Like people wear like comfortable things, especially younger people. Like
Yeah,
you
I
only
agree with
go out
that.
to look good if you're like specifically going out to look good. Otherwise, like there's no point in
Not to the
looking at anything but
movies.
crappy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I get
recommend
it.
Air as
Yeah,
well.
I recommend Air. Yeah, I think people should see this.
Air is
I think
exactly a
it's a
Ben
good
Affleck
watch.
movie, which is a 3.5 to 4 star movie with some mild levity, competently told, and you'll probably forget about it, and it won't be on any top 10 lists anywhere. But you'll have a nice time watching it. It's like, but it's not like a murder mystery too. Just was right. To me speaking to it, it doesn't feel lazy or cynical. It feels like it tried to do something. It tells its story entertainingly, and though disposable, it clearly has more of a shit given about it. Two
It's
recommends.
based on a true thing, so there's kind of
It
it's
was
an
not as
unfair
lazy.
comparison
It had
there.
care. Someone
It's
tried to tell a
unfair.
story.
Oh my
Two
god.
recommends for Air. And
Yeah.
that means, what do we have coming up? I don't know. I feel like May's got some big stuff.
Sounds like John Wick, actually. So
that would be nice. I would love that. I would love an excuse to
okay.
see it again. It was after this movie.
I'll give it a whirl.
This one stopped, and I checked showtimes for John Wick at the theater. I'm like, yes, it started like an hour ago at like a theater like the theater next to it. Like I get to catch the last 2 hours now because it's an almost 3 hour movie. But oh, it's so good, so wonderful. It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't drag at all. It drags about as much as RRR did, maybe less.
Oh, okay. I can
It
do that.
moves. It's good stuff. I think like Guardians is coming.
Yep, Guardians is
Are
coming.
we doing Marvel still?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not
That's what I said
super
about-
excited about it.
I was like, yeah, but Kang's in it. But then it was like, and I'm like, oh, but it's Guardians. I'm like, yeah, but like, is that good enough? Like, I don't know. I thought I told myself I wouldn't. I thought I told myself I was done.
Well, you let me know because if you're down, I'll go see it. So
Well, it's either that or probably Fast 10.
yeah, Fast 10. There was a bunch of previews that didn't. I don't know, that didn't hit with me at all.
The Flash.
At this movie, so
Return of Michael Keaton Batman in the Flash movie.
No, that wasn't it. I don't remember what they were. That's how good they came across as.
Films with
Chevalier?
Women in My Life. What was it?
Chevalier?
Michelier?
Chevalier? That's coming out.
Oh, Chevalier.
Yeah.
Michelier. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Chevalier?
Yeah, we could do Chevalier. I could probably watch that.
Possibly.
If you have things to recommend to us, so we don't have to watch some of those other things I said, Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Thanks for being on for air, Mama K.
You are welcome.
Until next time, this is Brennan signing off saying thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.